In my previous video, I promoted a Windows server to a domain controller and configured Active Directory domain services. In this video, we will continue by working with Active Directory users and computers. I'll be creating organizational units, adding multiple user accounts, and organizing them in a way that reflects a real-world company environment. Instead of creating just one organizational unit and one user account, I'll be setting up departments such as IT, management, HR, research, employees, and others, then creating users within those departments. I will create a shared folder and demonstrate how to apply NTFS permissions to control access to resources based on users and departments. By the end of this video, you will understand how to create and organize users in Active Directory and apply basic NTFS permissions in a Windows Server environment. So, let's get started. I'm going to open my notepad because I have the names of the organizational unit I'll be creating. First, I'll create an organizational unit. I'll click on my domain, ensign.local. Now, if you followed my previous video, you remember that I created this domain while setting up the domain controller. I will right-click on the domain, select New, and click Organizational Units. The first organizational unit I'll create is Employees. Next, I'll create another organizational unit for HR. Now, if you're a beginner and this is your first time working with Active Directory, I want you to become more familiar with this process. That's one of the reasons I am not taking the usual approach of creating just one OU and moving on. By creating multiple organizational units, you'll get more hands-on practice and become more comfortable navigating Active Directory. So far, I have created organizational units for employees, HR, and IT. Next, I'm going to create one for management. At this point, you've already seen the process and it's the same for the remaining organizational unit. I'll encourage you to go ahead and create the others on your own for practice. I will continue creating the remaining of the organizational units, but I'll speed up this part of the video since the steps are repetitive. For those of you who may not know organizational unit or OU, it's like a folder within your domain. It helps you organize users, computers, groups, and other objects into different departments or sections, making them easier to manage. So I'm done creating the organizational unit for employees, HR, IT, management, research, stakeholders, accounting, and auditors. The next step is to create the user accounts and place them in their respective organizational units. This will help us organize users based on their departments and make them easier to manage within Active Directory. Okay, so after creating the users for the HR organizational unit, let's move on to the next one. The process is exactly the same for all the remaining organizational units. I'm going to right-click the organizational unit, click New, then Users. I'm going to enter the first name for this user account, enter the username, click Next. For the password settings, I'm going to use a simple password for this lab environment and check password never expires. Click Next, then Finish. As you can see, the user account has now been created successfully inside this organizational unit. We can confirm this by looking inside the OU and seeing the new user account listed there. Now I will repeat the same process for the remaining organizational units until every department has at least one user account assigned to it. Okay, just a summary of what I've done so far. I have created organizational units for the different departments. I have added user accounts for each of these departments. Now that all the organizational units and user accounts have been created successfully, I will move on to the next part of the configuration, which is creating folders and applying the NTFS permission. The next thing I want to do is to create a folder using File Explorer. I will open this PC and navigate to the location where I want to create the folder. Then I will right-click, select New, and click Folder. I will name the folder Middle Earth. Inside the middle earth folder, I will create several subfolders for the different departments. Next, I'll open the middle earth folder and begin creating the department subfolders. I will create a new folder and name it employees. After that, I will continue creating additional folders for the other departments, such as HR, IT, and the remaining departments required for the projects. Now I will configure the NTFS permissions. Before assigning any permissions, I have prepared a table showing the folders, users, or groups, and the permissions that will be assigned to each of them. As an IT administrator, it is very important to have a detailed plan before configuring permissions. Having everything documented helps prevent mistakes and ensures that users receive access according to their roles and responsibilities. Without proper planning, it is possible to assign incorrect permissions, such as granting a user access to resources that they should not be able to control. By following a well-organized table, I can ensure that each folder is assigned the correct permissions and that access is managed securely and efficiently. The first folder I will configure is the HR folder. I will right-click the folder and select Properties. I will click the Security tab and then click Add. I will add the HR user and assign the full control permission. After confirming the settings, I will click Apply and then OK. Next, I will move to the Research folder. I right-click the folder, select Properties, and open the Security tab. I will click Edit and then Add. I will add Sam and assign the Modify permission. After that, I will add Mary and assign the same Modify permission. Next is the IT folder. I right-click the folder, select Properties, and navigate to the Security tab. Click Edit, Add, and add the IT user. Since the IT department requires complete access to manage the folder, I will assign the full control permission. I will then click Apply and OK to save the changes. I will repeat the same process for the remaining folders, using the permission table as a guide. I will add the appropriate users and assign the required permissions to each folder based on their roles and responsibilities. This helps ensure that access is configured consistently and accurately across all departments. That brings us to the end of this video. Today I created organizational units in Active Directory domain, added users to the appropriate organizational unit, created departmental folders, and configured NTFS permissions to control access to those folders. By assigning permissions based on job roles, each user is only able to access the resources they need for their work. And this follows the principle of least privilege and helps improve security by protecting sensitive information from unauthorized access. And the good part is that in my next video, I will be focusing on cybersecurity by configuring network ports and services in Windows servers. Thanks for watching Tech with More.